Okay, so welcome to our solutions presentation for the 21st century. This is group one. It encompasses me, Talia, Chuck, and Michaela and Emily, but it will be only me, Talia, presenting today, and we will be talking about compost. So compost is actually one of the third best ways that us as individuals can help reduce our carbon footprint on the environment. So we've got a little bit of a story here for you today. So basically, this is Susie. She's a junior at UMass studying horticulture, and it's her first semester, and she'll be taking NRC 101, Introduction to Compost. What she'll be learning about some of the benefits of compost, such as how it helps enrich the soils and retain moisture that suppress plant diseases and pests. It reduces the need for chemical fertilizers. It encourages the beneficial bacteria and fungi that break down this organic matter, reduces methane's emissions from the landfills, and lowers our carbon footprints. So some key ideas and the general definition of compost is that it is organic material that can be added to soil to help plants grow. Nice little statistic for you is food scraps and yard waste together currently make up more than 28% of what we throw away. So kind of connecting this to one of the last bullet points on what are the benefits is the more, foods and stuff that you put into the trash that can actually decompose. When you put that into the landfill and you cover that with trash, it actually produces methane, which is a potent greenhouse gas, which contributes to the warming of our planet. So just a really simple way to reduce your carbon footprint and not produce methane is simply to, you know, compost your food and your yard waste in a way that is organic and fresh and can actually give back to the environment. So there are three types of compost. There's brown, green, and water. Brown includes leaves, dirt, branches, so literally anything in the planet that is naturally grown in brown. And green includes grass clippings, vegetable waste, fruit scraps, and coffee grounds, even though I know coffee grounds are brown, but you can think of more so green as being food waste. And then lastly, water, obviously H2O, and putting all those into a compost pile will help create a great healthy batch of compost that you can use for fertilizer. So now that she has learned a little bit about the basics and kind of the key ideas, she wants to know how exactly it helps improve soil quality. So it helps improve soil quality because, like we were talking about, it gets rid of the need for synthetic fertilizers. And it adds organic material to the soil, which can improve water retention, which is really great because that means that we actually have to water our plants less when we are growing them organically, which is always great because conserving water is awesome. It also helps with adding compost around particular vegetables can actually also help with drainage, which is really good if you're trying to grow something with flooding, where areas easily flood, because it decreases the possibility of root rot and waterlogging in your vegetables. It also acts as a sponge that retains water, especially in sandy soils, which prevents plants from experiencing drought. Which again is really great because we can conserve water and water our plants less. And also if you're growing in a particularly dry climate, it'll be able to hold onto the water better and increase the soil fertility. So also compost is full of beneficial microbes and bacteria and fungi. And all those work together to pass nutrients from the minerals that are breaking down the compost to the soil and the roots of the plant. And you can kind of see from the diagram below how it all works. So she wants to know a little bit more. Susie would like to know a little bit more about her own personal individual impact and how composting can influence her life. So she's looking up some statistics, and she finds that 30 to 40% of food waste is actually thrown into the landfill. And then on average, about 400 pounds of food per year per person is wasted. And it costs the country as a whole around $162 billion just to deal with wasted food costs. So if you're kind of looking at that generally, you would need to spend $100,000 every day for 25 years just to get to $1 billion. So you'd be spending $100,000 a day for literal generations just to equivalent what the country would spend in 1 year on food waste. And pesticides and fertilizers really aren't good for people to be consuming anyways. They can lead to illness and also ruin soil diversity. And kind of the general theme here is that compost is a non-toxic approach that can help us, reach our food production goals, fight starvation, and not contaminate the climate, while also fueling our body with good stuff that is natural. So now she is curious about how she's going to try and implement this into her life. So like we were talking about, fertilizers contribute to greenhouse gas emissions in the environment. They're also like horrible for our water systems. The heavy usage of fertilizers to produce food only makes the impacts more harmful to human beings and the environment. Fertilizer depletes the quality of soil, making soil unable to use for long periods of times. This is something that we really see in like large agricultural farming. So how she's going to change up in her life is by changing her habits and beginning to compost herself. Susie is promoting healthier habits of eating and reducing her carbon footprint on the environment. There are particular organizations like all around, the country, different local organizations that will actually allow you to collect compost and then come and collect your compost and distribute that back to local farms. And one that I encourage here in the Pioneer Valley is to use city compost. It's something that I use. They give me like a pest smell-free bin, and I just throw all my food waste in there. And then once a month they come pick it up for $5, and then they bring it back and they, bring it through the correct process of turning it, allowing the heat to generate, adding water and stuff like that till it becomes like great natural organic fertilizer, and then redistributes that to local farms around the area who are particularly interested in growing natural foods. It's really great because not only is, supporting industries like this a great way to vote with your dollar, it also creates sustainable jobs like green jobs, which is fantastic. It provides cleaner and healthier foods to circulate around local economies. Like this is also great. We talk a lot about environmental injustice and, how food injustice is particularly targeted to, communities that can't afford maybe these organic things like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and stuff like that. So it's a really great way to help support local farms, to help support those community members. It also generates more money into the local economy, shopping local, especially, in a crisis like COVID-19, coming back and supporting the local economy is going to be huge. And the greatest part of it all is that it helps us reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. And therefore, maybe one day our planet won't reach really threatening degrees so that we can all live happily ever after. And then this is our We're Excited page, and then that is it. So I hope you enjoyed our presentation, and please feel free to email us with any questions.